Be me. 27 years old. Outreach coordinator at a city nonprofit. Runs workshops about women in technology and safer streets. Proud of my calendar color coding and my tote bag full of sticky notes. Morning stand-up in a room with bad coffee and inspirational posters. Talk about emotional labor like it is a barbell only I can lift. Make a joke about road crews leaning on shovels like it is a group yoga pose. People at my table laugh. I feel taller than my boots. Later, at a donor dinner in a community hall with string lights and warm bread, conversation drifts to street resurfacing that shut down a block last week. I say the usual line about how feelings work is the real heavy lifting. A guy at the next table hears it. Tall, sunburned neck, hands like a toolbox, reflective jacket draped on the chair. He turns slightly, asks with a calm voice if I have ever tried to guide a dump truck in a rain cloud of steam while traffic shouts at you. I say something about Pilates and stamina. Table laughs again. He does not. He introduces himself as Ethan. Paving crew. Says hard work is not a debate team trophy. Says I can come try it for a week if I want to know. The room hums. My pride trips over itself and hits the big red button. I say we should swap. 1 week. I hold the stop sign and the rake. He runs my conference prep and donor wrangling. No special help, no excuses. Handshakes and raised eyebrows all around. Next morning, before sunrise, I am in a borrowed high-visibility jacket that smells like heat and gravel. New boots feel like stubborn bricks on my feet. Air tastes like cold metal. Yard lights buzz. Trucks cough awake. Foreman hands me a radio and a paddle sign. Explains a list of rules that sounds like a spell. Traffic is a river. My elbows are the gate. If I mess up, metal meets bone. I nod like a bobblehead that wants to live. First hour on a corner by a bakery. Steam slips out of a grate. Asphalt arrives quiet and heavy in the belly of a truck. I point and wave and try to look like I know where my hands go. A driver yells about being late. I try to answer. Radio explodes with words I do not understand. Foreman taps my shoulder and switches my paddle back to stop. My face burns more than the sky. Ethan is across town at my desk, sends a thank you note to a sponsor, schedules a call, writes a draft press release like it is a grocery list. Megan texts me a picture of him smiling at my plant. Betrayal by Fern. Second hour is longer than the first. Trucks back up with that haunted bird sound. I hold the sign higher. Wind flips it like a fish. A cyclist snakes through the cones. I learn to shout with my whole ribs. Break time under a shade tent that has seen things. Men sit quiet with sandwiches and bruised thermoses. Nobody asks me how many webinars I ran last month. Nobody talks about mindfulness. They talk about the roller acting salty and the joint at the crown of the hill. I pretend I understand. I chew without tasting. Back to the line. A raker hands me the tool. Tells me to pull the edge clean like frosting a cake that weighs a car. My arms realize how small they truly are. Hot grit kisses my ankles through my pants. The smell of tar and summer and old fire moves into my lungs and starts paying rent. Meanwhile, Ethan listens to a vendor ask for a bigger logo on the banner. He nods, offers them a panel seat instead, closes the call with a laugh that sounds like a handshake. My phone buzzes with a calendar change that I did not make. I feel replaced by a very polite mountain. Day 2. Sunrise is a rumor. My hands have new topography. Blisters that could have names. Foreman shows me the measuring wheel and the chalk line for crosswalk layout. I try to mark a right angle. I discover I have been living in a circle my whole life. Traffic does not care about my journey. A bus driver points at his watch like it is a weapon. I point at my sign like it is a shield. The bus sighs like an old singer and waits anyway. Respect feels like a quiet nod that nobody claps for. Ethan meets with our board chair. She is a surgeon with a calendar sharper than a scalpel. He listens, repeats her concerns in plain words, offers 3 options, picks one that makes the numbers and the feelings hold hands without fighting. My group chat says he might be a natural. I send a picture of my boots and say nothing. Day 3. The roller operator waves me over, shows me how the fresh mat feels under the drum when it is right. Not soft, not brittle. Somewhere between pancake and thunder. It is a language my arms are just beginning to hear. Sun climbs. I forget I have a neck. Sweat makes a river down my spine. I find a rhythm with the paddle sign. Stop, slow, stop, slow. Wave car through. Hear a thank you from a window rolled down. It sounds like a medal made of air. Lunch under the same tent. Someone passes around a jar of balm that smells like mint and survival. Jokes happen in low voices that do not need a stage. No one performs being tough. They just are. Upstairs, at the office, Ethan handles a complaint email about our event name being exclusionary. He writes back with grace, invites the sender to a listening session. He adds a new slide to the deck that says, "People want to belong before they want to be inspired." I read it later and feel both seen and replaced. Afternoon brings a surprise. A small rain cloud throws pennies at the site. The surface hisses. Crew moves like a flock. Tarps appear. Brooms flash. I stand there slow for half a heartbeat. Then my legs remember they are invited. I grab a broom. I push water like it owes me money. Foreman gives a grunt that is 90% approval and 10% warning. After shift. Shower turns black at my feet. I sit on the floor. I think about the word strong. It does not feel like a poster anymore. It feels like hands that do not complain. Day 4. We work near a school. Small faces press against a fence like curious moons. A kid waves at me like I am a hero in a paper cape. I wave back with a shaking arm. I stand taller for that 1 minute. Traffic tries to nibble the cone line. A driver films me with a phone. I am now content. I keep the sign up anyway. A teacher brings a cooler with ice water for the crew. Kindness tastes like a clear lake. Ethan runs the run sheet for our big rehearsal. Stage manager is late. Microphone is moody. Sponsor wants a shout-out that lasts longer than a song. He keeps everyone calm with a voice that does not spike. He moves chairs like chess pieces. He fixes a typo on the keynote slide without making a speech about it. My boss tells me he is very composed. My rib cage gets jealous and learns a new emotion. Evening. I practice writing straight chalk lines in my kitchen with a string and tape. My cat judges my angles. I talk back to a cat about geometry. This is my life now. Day 5. Final sight is a busy boulevard with delivery vans that think rules are rumors. I stand like a lighthouse with a sore back. A trucker tips his hat through the window. I feel like a person with a job that protects strangers I will never meet. Near noon. I misread a hand signal. Start to wave a car through. Foreman snaps a shout that slices the heat. I freeze. The roller glides by where that car would have been. My stomach drops to the basement. I nod. I do not cry. I listen harder than I ever have in my life. Clock out feels like stepping off a ship. I drive to the office for the wrap-up meeting. Hands raw, knees talking in vowels only. Conference room smells like carpet and achievement. Ethan is there in a collared shirt that looks confused on him. He stands by my slides with tiny edits that make them breathe better. Board chair nods to him at the right moments. My boss thanks both of us for playing along with the great experiment. People clap like it is a talent show. Megan leans over and whispers that I lasted the week. She sounds surprised. My pride wants confetti. My legs want a chair. I make a tired joke about how the paving crew gets to go silent and just push things. Ethan looks at me. Not angry, not smug, just steady. He says hard work wears different uniforms. Comparing them to score points makes both jobs smaller. Room goes quiet in that good way when a truth lands. I open my mouth to argue. Nothing comes out. Mouth closes like a respectful door. Foreman is at the back with a clipboard. He nods once at me. I nod back like I understand a new dialect. Meeting ends with pastries and relief. I eat 2 pastries and swallow a new humility with them. Ethan returns my desk plant. It has a new stake to keep it upright. He says the plant needed it. I realize I do too. On the way home, I stop at a hardware store, buy better gloves, buy hand balm, buy a measuring tape because my chalk lines have standards now. Cashier asks if I am doing a project. I say I am becoming one. Weekend arrives. I sleep like a stone that fought a storm, wake up and do nothing for 20 minutes. Then my arms remind me they exist by sending a little lightning. I open my laptop, write a new slide for the event. It says, "Respect is not theoretical. It has a smell and a temperature and a weight." Monday again. Back at my desk. The fluorescent light hums like a patient bee. I reply to emails with more kindness and fewer paragraphs. I schedule a site visit with our next cohort so they can see how streets are made. I write a line in the run book about bringing cold water for crews. Small change. Real world. At lunch, I walk past a crew patching a square of road near a library. One guy is new. He holds the rake. Like it is a question mark. I nod to him like we are cousins. He nods back like we share a secret. After work, I meet friends at a bar with dim lights and loud chairs. I tell the story. They ask about feminism and whether I feel like I betrayed it. I say caring about women never meant I had to ignore men. It meant I had to tell the truth about work. And the truth is that calling someone else's hard work simple does not make mine matter more. It makes all of us poorer. I raise a glass to emotional labor. I raise a glass to physical labor. I raise a glass to the kind of labor that does not have a word yet because no one wrote a think piece about it. We drink to that unnamed kind. Next day. I send Ethan a message. Thank you for not letting me fall apart. He replies with a thumbs up in word form, because I am allergic to small pictures now. He adds that if I ever want to learn how to read the surface by the sound of the roller. He knows a guy. I laugh out loud alone at my desk. Real laugh. Not the kind you aim at a room. Later that afternoon, I catch myself about to make the old joke again. Stop. Replace it with a story about the bus that waited and the kid at the fence. The room listens. The room learns with me. That is the job now. Week after that. Our event happens. Lights are warm. Microphones behave. Sponsors clap at the right time. Panel about women in infrastructure hits like a storm and a sunrise. We invite a paving crew leader to speak. She tells the room about being 5 feet tall and moving mountains with a rake. She says, dignity is not a gift others hand you. You bring it with you like a thermos. Audience stands like a field of sunflowers. I stand with them. Cleanup time. I coil cables with new respect for straight lines. I stack chairs with better posture than my spine deserves. Ethan appears with a trash bag and a grin. He says I owe him a reflective jacket that actually fits. I promise to get one without glitter. He says glitter is a hazard. We agree, glitter is always a hazard. after the last box is loaded. We step outside. The street we worked on the week before is smooth like a promise. Cars move over it with a soft hush. Nobody in those cars knows our names. That feels correct and holy. I walk home under a sky the color of clean steel, pass a sign that says, "Road work ahead." For once, I do not make a joke. I nod at it like a neighbor. Inside my apartment, I place my battered boots by the door. They look like two small monuments. I light a candle that smells like mint balm and rain on warm stone. I breathe. Next morning, my inbox tries to sprint toward me. I let it. I put on my jacket. I go to work. Both kinds. The kind with words and the kind without. Months later, a new hire makes a joke about road crews leaning on shovels. I smile. I hand them a cone and an invitation to ride along. They blink. They accept. I watch a new story begin where mine did. Sometimes people ask what I learned. I say that hard work is not a weapon you swing at someone else. It is a bridge you stand on together, so the rest of the city can pass. Sometimes people ask if I still call myself a feminist. I say yes, more than before. Because believing women matters never meant pretending men feel nothing. It meant being honest about the weight we all carry, and making sure nobody has to lift in silence. The week on the crew did not fix the world. It changed one person in it. That is a start. Starts are loud, like a truck in reverse, and steady, like a roller on a fresh morning. The end is not really the end. It is just me, holding a paddle sign at the crosswalk near our office, waving a group of school kids across with my sore elbow. One of them looks up and asks if I build roads. I say sometimes. He asks what I build the rest of the time. I look at the passing cars. I look at the sky. I say I build rooms where people listen to each other. Kid nods like that is a real job. We both move on. I keep the gloves in my desk drawer now, next to the plant stake. Every time I open it, I remember the sound of the drum when the surface is right. I line up my day until it feels like that. Traffic flows, meetings breathe, hands heal, respect grows in quiet places. And I try very hard not to lean on the shovel unless the leaning is earned. And the shovel is a sentence, and the leaning is a pause, so the next person can speak. That is the joke now. It is not really a joke. It is a life, be me, slightly different now, still tired, still loud when it counts, still learning new ways to carry weight without throwing it. If you ask me what the punchline is, I will say, nobody needs to be the punchline. The road is the point, and the road is for everyone. So make it level, and do not forget the water, and wave people through like you mean it, and thank the bus when it waits, and write the email that makes someone breathe easier, and bring the balm, and wear the jacket, and build the room, and walk home on the surface you helped make. Because that is the only applause that does not fade. The hush of tires on good work. Going forward,